9 months, nearly 700 in-game days, and 49 prior episodes have all led to this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever Python's World Tour here on episode 50. Now, just before we get into the tour, just a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. First of all, to remind you folks that if you do find yourselves enjoying this episode or you want to support the channel, please do be sure to drop a like beneath the video. The second thing to mention is if you're new to this channel via this video here today, a warm welcome to you. I hope you'll enjoy what you'll see, and I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel with those bell notifications turned on. Only in a couple of days' time, we're going to be starting Season 2 of Python's World, starting afresh in a brand new area on this same world. Thirdly, of course, there will be a map download listed in the description down below, but for the first time ever, I will also be providing a Bedrock Edition map download. A lot of you folks in the community were recommending to me that I use a bit of software called Chunker, which basically allows the conversion of Java Edition worlds to Bedrock. Now, just as a little bit of a caveat to that, I don't really know if it's like a perfect conversion. There may be certain bits and bobs that might not carry over from the Java Edition world here to Bedrock, so, you know, you have been warned. To wrap up the housekeeping here at the start of the episode, how's about a little bit of info regarding this series and world? This world started back in January of this year, 2025, and it started on the 1.21.4 update. I do indeed consider this to be my long-term forever Minecraft world. If I ever get bored of a certain area, then basically what we'll do is we'll just start a new season in a new area of the same world. So we've always got the option to come back to other areas of the world from previous seasons to work on older projects. In my view, it is an excellent way to extend the lifespan of your world, and it's something I'd very much recommend to you folks. If you find yourselves getting bored of your world or your current projects, why not just put everything away? Just start afresh in a new area of your current world. Other quick things to mention, the world seed for this world will of course be listed in the description down below, and there is something very, very special about this world seed in that you can find every single Minecraft biome there is within 3,000 blocks of 0, 0. Now, in terms of the settlement where we're at now, Firefly Falls, these are the coordinates for the location where we set up. So then, since I took the world download from the point of the beginning of today's episode, I'm going to go ahead and get my gear put back on, and then we can embark on our world tour. So then, my friends, where better to start off our tour than our episode 1 house, the very, very first thing we built in this world, and it's populated by 2 out of 3 of the different types of frogs you can get. I'm not entirely sure why I've kept them in this house for this long. They've just been sort of adopted as pets at this point. But yeah, our episode 1 house looking very nice. Got ourselves some nice skylights going on. And one of the most recent additions to this house is this here basement. We go downstairs and what we're going to find are a whole bunch of project walls. We've got the Firefly Falls project wall. You can see some blank ones where I've actually completed various bits and bobs, but there are still plenty of other things still to be done here. So as much as, yes, I'm wrapping up Season 1 with this world tour here today, we will eventually return here. But anyways, checking out the other walls, we've got ourselves a wall dedicated to the Industrial Island project area. We'll check that out a little bit later, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff still to be done over there. And again, it's something we will return to later down the line in Season 2. And then in terms of other projects across the world and maybe in other dimensions as well, I've got stuff to do in the Nether, Froglet Farm, Gold Farm. I've got stuff to do in the End. The Space Town is probably the thing I'm most excited to eventually begin. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff still to do in sort of random areas in the overworld. So yeah, I think it's always a good idea to have a project wall in your world. Then you can just keep tabs of what needs to be done and what has been done. So heading out the door, we are greeted with many things. A happy ghast, we've got ourselves a horsey right here, and we've got ourselves this rather beautiful settlement nestled in amongst a whole bunch of lovely forested mountains. Now, the reason why this town is called Firefly Falls is because the Firefly bush is one of the earliest things that was added after this series began. And it's rather quickly become one of my favourite bits of foliage in this game. When it becomes nighttime, we will have ourselves a very nice sort of flying particle effect of a whole bunch of little fireflies sort of roaming around the place. It's just such a nice addition. And talking of nighttime, I think it is upon us. All of the lights on the raised walkway there have automatically turned on because I've got a bunch of daylight sensors above the redstone lamps up there, turned to night mode. And yeah, here we are with a whole bunch of little firefly particles and little squeaky sounds coming from the bushes. I love them. So checking this out in cinematic view, we got ourselves a little bit of a creek going on here with a whole bunch of foliage next to it. We've got ourselves a little bridge here, and it all leads down to the central lake down there. Now, if you wanted a little bit of a before shot of the Firefly Falls area, this is what you would be greeted with. There's a whole bunch of natural waterfalls all over the place, and one of the things you're going to notice when we head back into the LP world is instead of getting rid of the waterfalls, I actually adapted them. I integrated them into the settlement itself. I made them all into little creeks and I decorated them, and as a result it all looks mighty nice. But yeah, again, this is sort of the before shot of Firefly Falls before everything was added. And if you're interested, this is what the after shot looks like. When it comes to nighttime, this place just shines, doesn't it? It really does look rather incredible. So then, back to the tour. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go sort of from left to right. So what that means for us is heading all the way up to the very far reaches here. And, well, actually, we could probably show you this. I've got 4 towers acting as one of the main entrances into Firefly Falls here, but they're not just any towers. You might be able to hear a bunch of sheep, but you might not be able to see them. Well, how about this for clever? In each of the towers is 4 mini auto sheep shearing farms. We've dedicated 1 pen to each of the 16 colors available, and it all works out perfectly. 4 towers, 16 colors of wool available, so that means 4 sheep in each tower. And if we just pop into the chest here, look at it. We've got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of different colors of wool. But anyways, moving to the far reaches of Firefly Falls here. This is actually a relatively recent build, and, well, as I'm sure you can guess already, it is an automatic sugarcane farm. But it's not just a sugarcane farm, my friends. What it actually is an automatic paper maker. That is right, I've actually made usage of the auto crafters, and they're not even that new at this point. I've just very rarely used them. I've never really been too big into the redstone side of things. So moving along, if we take a left turn here, we're going to have ourselves a few little bits and bobs coming up. We've got ourselves a sort of secret entrance into this settlement. I haven't really done anything with this just yet, so that's definitely going to be something we do later down the line in Season 2 or beyond, perhaps. And I'm sure you haven't failed to notice this gargantuan build. We'll go ahead and check it out in just a bit, but basically, it's a giant library, and it's a very special giant library. It's a project that took a very long time to complete, but we'll get to that in just a bit. We've got ourselves a couple of houses back here, you know, nothing too special. This one is simply a build to store all of the various CDs that exist in the game, and I think it was suggested in one of my more recent episodes that what we should do is try and draft ourselves in like a herd of parrots, and then we've got ourselves like a proper dance studio in here or something. That'd be pretty funny, right? But anyways, towards the back of the build, we've got ourselves a secret door, and this leads up to the raised walkway. And if we just continue along, you're going to notice that there are multiple ways of getting up to this raised walkway. And, well, that is the entire reason why there are twisting vines in here. We use them to go up, and then we sort of hang on the ladder here. Up we go, close the trapdoor, and we are on the raised walkway. This raised walkway spans the entire perimeter of Firefly Falls, and we've got fully automatic lighting all the way along, to the point where no hostile mobs will ever be able to spawn on this walkway. You can see just how far round it goes. It goes above the grand portal over there, it goes all the way around the corner, all the way around there. It then spans into an underground area, round that sort of aqueduct area, and then round to where we first got onto this path. So, heading back down and out of the disco house, we got ourselves another little house down here, and this is a project I very, very recently completed. I finally grabbed every single kind of flower you can get in this game, including the wither rose you see here, and also the sniffer related flowers you can get. We've got one of every single type of flower on display here, and I gotta tell you, as the self-proclaimed flower pot king of Minecraft, this is a view I very much approve of. So checking out this area here, that is part of the raised walkway, and slightly above it is actually an aqueduct, and it's a proper aqueduct as well, whereby there's a bunch of water flowing all the way across it. And one of the more recent things I have done is I've done a bunch of landscaping to the point where I have covered up what was a whole bunch of areas that were exposed to the sky. Now, this little area here eventually is going to be a sort of forgotten settlement. If I was to get rid of all of the torches around here, this area would be plunged into complete darkness, and it would just become a haven for hostile mobs to be able to spawn in. But yeah, eventually, it would be an awesome idea to finally get to work on this forgotten settlement. For now, though, let's get back to Firefly Falls, because, ladies and gentlemen, I think the time has come for us to check out this giant library. This is one of the centerpieces on our world so far, and it's a very, very special build and project, because what we have going on here is we have a librarian villager selling every single top-tier enchanted book trade you can get in this game for only 1 emerald, or maybe 2, maybe 3 emeralds at most. It depends on how happy the villagers are. But the fact of the matter is, what I did is I purposely let a bunch of villagers from a villager breeder get infected. I then cured them, and that therefore applies a villager curing discount, and as a result, the vast majority of the enchanted book trades are for 1 emerald. And yes, it does include tier 5 enchants. So Bane of Arthropods 5 right there. We've got Blast Protection for 1 emerald, Breach 4 for 1 emerald. It's all brilliant. We've got every single one. Even Efficiency 5. Efficiency 5 for 1 emerald is just ridiculous, isn't it? Essentially, we're never going to have to worry about dying and losing all of our stuff, because we'll just be able to trade into existence a whole bunch of enchanted books, and all of those can be put on new gear that we're going to want to make. Right, so yeah, we've got mending here as well, multi-shot, piercing, power, projectile protection. It's all here, my friends. Every single top-tier enchanted book trade you can get, aside from curses, exist in this library as a trade for 1 emerald, or 2 or 3, whatever it might be. This project took a very, very, very long time to get done, as I'm sure you've probably realized, because in Java Edition, with villager trading, you can go ahead and you can cycle the trades so long as you haven't already traded with them. So in my case, the amount of times I had to mine up the lectern, place it back down, see what trades the guy has, and then, if they don't have the trade I'm looking for, I break the lectern, I place it back down, rinse and repeat, until I got every single top-tier enchanted book trade. It took a long time, but oh my goodness, was it worth it. So real quick, going back to what I was saying about how I adapted the natural waterfalls and made them part of the settlement, this is one of them. This has been here since the very, very start of the series, and instead of getting rid of it because the water on the floor was getting in my way, I just decided to adapt it. I've got this flowing all the way down, eventually, to the central lake way down there. And that's basically the common theme when it comes to all of these little creek/stream things. They all lead down to the central lake, because I thought, geologically speaking, that made sense. So yeah, I thought that was a nice touch. So moving around, I just realized I never actually showed you this. This is supposed to be the security guard's shack. I mean, this guy is kind of locked behind an iron door, so I'm not entirely sure about how good a job this guy is doing in terms of, you know, securing this place. I mean, what's to stop a little old me just roaming in and walking past this guy? What is he going to be able to do when he's trapped behind an iron door, huh? But anyways, we pop in here. This guy is a cartographer, and as a result, we've got ourselves a Tiger Village map and a Trial Explorer map on offer. Oh, and a Woodland Explorer map as well. So yeah, this guy is like the one-stop shop for planning new adventures. So then, time to move on, my friends. We've got ourselves a nice basic stable going on here. I thought that bamboo plank slabs and hay bales work really, really well together for a roof, so that's why we got that going on. I think it looks really good. And believe it or not, it's only very, very recently that I finally populated this place with a donkey. So, keeping on moving. We've got ourselves a couple of not started projects to check out. We've got ourselves what is eventually going to be a map wall build right there. We've also got another not started on project up here. This is going to be the Update Museum. And the idea with this, eventually, is we're going to have an area dedicated to displaying all of the more major things that were added with each new update. So having this series start off in the 1.21.4 update, there's a good amount of game drops to cover in here, isn't there? But anyways, moving back to this little residential area, we've got this build here, which for the longest time I didn't really know what to do with, but as of last episode, I decided it'll be a nice idea for this place to host all of my various seasons gear. So in this chest, for example, we've got all of my Ender chest contents, which is basically 27 shulker boxes, all nicely organized. When you guys grab this map download and play this for yourself, you should wind up spawning in here, and if you want to grab my gear, you pop into here, and my armor will be on there, and all of the stuff you see on me will be in this chest here. So that's that build taken care of. This one over here is just sort of a box standard house. We've got like a little bit of a kitchen area here, a little bit of a living space, and then we pop upstairs, and here we are with a bedroom. That's right, this place doesn't have a bathroom. Completely forgot about that, but, you know, we'll gloss over that for now. But this build recently has kind of become a place for me to take care of some map wall stuff. So you might be able to notice I've got some maps going on here. Basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have a whopping 8,000 by 8,000 block area map wall. Now with all fully zoomed out maps, that means we need a 4 by 4 map wall, or 16 maps in total. Now unfortunately, me starting afresh in a new area of the world does mean that the completion of this map wall project will be postponed for a little bit, but eventually we will return here, so don't fret about it. All will be well. So moving on, let's pop down this pathway. We've got ourselves a little bit of a side stable attached to our cartography house with a little mule guy in it, because why not? And now we move into sort of the center area of Firefly Falls. So starting off with our original horse. Here he is with his bling blang diamond armor of epicness and in his decently sized stable. I thought that was pretty cool anyway. So, I think we're going to go in a clockwise direction for this one. So, again, with the creeks all going down to the central lake, looking pretty good. So, moving along, we've got ourselves a ladder here. This is another way of getting up to the raised walkway. Eventually, though, what's going to happen is this area here is going to become a little bit of a happy gas slash airship car park kind of area. It just seems like the right kind of area to put one. But again, that's something to do later down the line. But here we are up at a different area of the raised walkway. And it's got to be said, no matter where I look, there are some really nice views from up here, aren't there? Hey, why is there an Enderman down there? Is he trying to channel his inner farmer? Are you trying to harvest some pumpkins and melons for me? I mean, if so, I'd appreciate it. I mean, I don't really need no grass blocks right now, but pumpkins and melons, I can trade those away for emeralds. They'd be super useful. Talking of pumpkins and melons, here we are. Just a nice rudimentary pumpkin and melon planting and growing area of epicness. I just figured it would be a nice thing to fill up the space with. So, yeah, why not? So moving around, if we were to pop over to the left here, this is going to be our diamond mine entrance. And there is something pretty amazing about this world. And I didn't even realize this when I started this world. And that is this staircase not only goes down to my diamond mine, but it also directly leads, and I really do mean it perfectly directly leads to a trial chamber. You can see the beginnings of it just down there. I thought that was just one of the most amazing things I think I've ever found in a Minecraft world. Now, in terms of the diamond mine area, there is indeed something to show you, but it is a little bit of a distance away. So let me just quickly time-lapse the journey over there. And here we are. These 4 torches mark the entrance to my double skeleton farm. And oh my goodness, have I found a lot of usage out of this. I mean, hey, check out all of these chests I've got going on. All fully repaired armor. Got ourselves a bunch of ink sacks because for some reason the glow squids spawn inside the dungeons for whatever reason. In here, we've got ourselves some slightly higher end enchanted bows that drop from the skeletons. In here, we've got slightly broken up armor. Over here, a whole bunch of arrows. Then we've got bone blocks and even more bone blocks. Bows, and then even back here, I've got a whole bunch more stuff even still. I have used this place a lot. Like a lot. It's fantastic. So here we are back at the surface. It is daytime and we've got ourselves a little bit of a sniffer pen area going on here. This is a very, very recent build of mine. I decided to convert an area into a sniffer pen and I decided to add a little bit of a moat around here as well because why not? It was something that helped to fill up the space, and it gave me an opportunity to decorate the floor with a whole bunch of greenery. Moving on, though, if we just continue down the pathway here we have another creek. I mean, this one is man-made. It sort of stems from that moat that I showed you just a moment ago, but once again, it leads down to the central lake. And now, if we move along, we have ourselves not only the grand portal way up there, but we've also got ourselves the storage cove. So, yeah, it's a proper grand staircase going all the way up to the nether portal here. And it's got, like, streamlights and bits and bobs behind it just to sort of light it up a bit. And then if we were to go up these sort of side stairs, these will lead up to the raised walkway. That is right, yet another way of getting up here. But anyways, popping back down, let's go ahead and check out the storage curve. I gotta be honest, I think this has got to be one of my proudest and, in my opinion, one of the best builds I've done in this series so far. We have banks upon banks of chests, and we've got some barrels in the mix as well, and literally everything that we have managed to garner throughout the series so far. Everything has wound up in here at some point. And we've got all the sort of more valuable things at the top back area here. So moving on from the storage cove, if we continue round, we've got some other bits and bobs coming up. This, my friends, is another relatively recent build. This is a horse testing area. The left-hand side is a jump testing area. Each of the different jumps goes up by a half block increment. And on the right-hand side, we've got ourselves a speed testing area. And basically what I'm trying to do as time goes on is I'm trying to breed up better and better horses, ones that have better and better stats. In the case of the speed number, it's a bit backwards, but the lower the speed number, the faster the horse is. Jump height, we've got 4.5 blocks going for us, which is pretty darn good. And then we've got health, 11 hearts. So, yeah, we're not doing too bad in terms of our horse breeding journey. In terms of how this works, it is very, very simple. We open up the trap doors, and then we simply run. Run, run, run as fast as we can to the other end. Then I get off the horse, pop in through here, and we check out the number of sticks we have going on. So in this case, we've got 34, which is a pretty good score. That means we've got ourselves a pretty fast horse going on, wherever it went. So yeah, got ourselves a couple of stables going on here, and if we were to keep on following this pathway here, we are going to come across yet another of the main entrances into Firefly Falls. No sheep farms in these towers, though. These ones just have bog standard staircases going up to the raised walkway. But anyway, heading back in, we've got ourselves the Log Fella Outpost. Some of you folks might recognize that reference, but in here is basically the one-stop shop for all of our wood needs. We've got all of the different kinds of wood you can get in this game as of this update, 1.21.10, and then we've got ourselves a bunch of saplings, a bunch of mushroom tree related stuffs, and then a whole bunch of other stuff as well, bone meal and other bits and bobs that we get from some of the other types of trees. Up here, we have ourselves a dedicated Log Fella netherite axe of epicness, and then we've got ourselves a whole bunch of bone blocks, because what do you need to grow trees? Bone blocks. Or, if you don't have them, then an immense amount of patience, right? And talking of the trees, here they all are. Just for the sake of making this place look populated, I've got, like, whole areas dedicated to different tree types. So we got ourselves a whole bunch of jungle ones here. We've got pale oak, and it's just a whole bunch of wood that is yet to be chopped down. And then if we just pop out here, this little room here, this is dedicated to growing the different kinds of nether tree, and it also serves as our ability to grow the normal mushroom trees. And in the case of the normal mushroom trees, we're going to want to try and maximize the amount of mushroom items we get from them, right? So that is why we have ourselves the very rarely created Fortune 3 axe. And yeah, in my case anyway, it is very, very rare that I actually go out of my way to get myself a Fortune axe. But there we are. That is like literally the only usage for a Fortune 3 axe I can think of. Getting more mushrooms from a mushroom tree. By all means, correct me if I'm wrong. If there's other usages for a Fortune 3 axe, let me know. But anyway, believe it or not, we're starting to run low on things to check out here in Firefly Falls. If we just continue along though, we've got ourselves a fishing shack. This is one of my earliest builds. We've got ourselves a bit of a fishing pier. For some reason, there is a brewing stand there. And here we are with my little pet dog. I honestly can't remember if I gave this guy a name or not. My memory is so bad, but it has been a long time since I've said hello to you, so hello. But anyways, here we are. We've got ourselves some fisherman villagers fully leveled up to the max, and then, you know, we've got some other bits and bobs in here as well. We've got ourselves the infinite fishing rod of epicness, and various other bits and bobs as well. So, let's get ourselves out of there. Now we can check out the farmland area. And, well, as you can see, it's a farmland area. Got ourselves a bunch of wheat, got ourselves a bunch of potatoes, carrots, and then a bunch of beetroot. And then to decorate and populate this place a little bit more, maybe add a bit of life, I decided to add not only some scarecrows, but also some little bee nest outpost type things. Just places where bees can live, I guess. And then in here is like the one-stop shop for my food needs. In other words, I use these guys to continually purchase myself golden carrots, because these are like one of the best food sources in the game, aren't they? The only other things to check out here in Firefly Falls, we've got ourselves a nice rudimentary barn, complete with skylights. But yeah, this side we've got some sheep. Apparently, a chicken thinks it's a sheep, Hey man, you do you. We got ourselves a chicken pen here with at least a breeding pair of all of the different types of chickens you can get nowadays. And then the same goes with the pigs as well. Apparently, a sheep thinks it's a pig. Again, you do you, buddy. And finally, one of my other earliest builds in this settlement. This was my rudimentary book factory. I've got a bunch of cows here, at least 2 of each of the different types you can get, and then a whole bunch of sugarcane. Just planted down in the sort of ye olde fashion. Pop through, punch them all off, get sugarcane. And then we could make ourselves a bunch of books for bookshelves for enchanting setups or to enchant the books themselves, of course. Oh, I almost forgot. We got ourselves the wealthy house up here to check out. This might just be one of the only builds that actually comes off of the raised walkway here. And for the longest time, I haven't been sure what I'd like to do with this in terms of, you know, what usage it could serve. But I think what I'm gonna do in the future is make this into a builder's market. I want to get myself a bunch of mason villagers in here because not only can you buy brick items from masons, you can also buy things like quartz blocks and quartz pillar blocks and different variations of glazed and regular terracotta. Like, really, if we were to populate this with a bunch of masons, we're going to have ourselves access to a whole new roost of blocks to use for our builds. But yeah, for now, it remains empty. It's another project to take on another day. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is Firefly Falls. So, this, ladies and gentlemen, way over here is my industrial island project. It started off as just sort of a bog standard looking island out in the middle of the river, and I decided to make it into a darn near perfect circle. So far as I can remember, it is a whopping 140 by 140 blocks big, and this hostile mob drop farm serves as its centerpiece. And as you can see, I've got some nice pixel art on the sides of the hostile mob drop farm, and it looks pretty good as a result. And this farm comes complete with an AFK toggle. There's a couple of dudes in here, and that is because this is in manual mode, so we can go ahead and slap some dudes around, get ourselves more drops as a result of having looting, and get ourselves a bunch of XP, which is awesome. Now, if I was to flick this switch, it's going to reveal the hoppers here, and as you can see, the mobs just flat out die. So we can literally just AFK here for hours, and the output chests here will populate over time. The best way to use this farm, though, is to head up to the little AFK platform in the sky here. Oh, I didn't quite reach it that time. But yeah, we land up here, I bring up the F3 screen, and what we're looking at is the third line down from the top left. That first number shows the amount of entities in your current view. I normally wait until that reaches 60, maybe 70, and then that means there's a whole bunch of mobs that have spawned inside of the hostile mob drop farm. Then I drop down, allow them to drop, and then I slap them around for a whole bunch of drops and XP. The idea of this little platform being way up here is when I am way up here, absolutely no mobs ever spawn underground. They don't even spawn at the surface. They are limited to only ever spawning inside of the hostile mob drop farm. So yeah, I was very, very particular in the location and height at which I placed down that platform. So yeah, as you can see, lookity-doo, we got a whole bunch of dudes. I love this thing. It works an absolute treat. Now, unfortunately, this hostile mob drop farm is the only thing I have made at Industrial Island so far, but needless to say, with that project wall I showed you towards the start of the tour, this place is gonna get populated eventually. It's gonna take some time probably, but we'll get there in the finish. The only other thing to show you folks is it's kind of a little random build that I did off camera at one point, but basically I decided that I'd really like to try and get the third type of frog, the cold frog, or the green one, if you will. So I decided to make myself a little bit of a frog breeding build way up at the top of one of these here snowy mountains. Now, last time I looked here, there were tadpoles. Are there still tadpoles here? Yeah, there are. So eventually what should happen is these tadpoles will grow up and they'll become green frogs, thus giving us the last type of frog I need for my little collection in my episode 1 house. The idea being that eventually I could potentially make a frog-like farm in the nether with those guys. In terms of the coordinates where this is, in case you're interested, because this is a little bit of a distance away from Firefly Falls, there it is. So then, my friends, believe it or not, that is just about it for the world tour here today. Firefly Falls was sort of the centerpiece of what I wanted to show you today, and honestly, it has been sort of my main focus for the first 49 episodes of this series. And because Firefly Falls, I got it up to a point where I felt like it was done enough in that I've gone ahead and I've populated the entire surface area with bits and bobs, I basically decided it was time to move on. Hence, we are starting Season 2 of Python's World in a brand new area of the same world in just a couple of days. I'm very much looking forward to it. If you guys want a little bit of a snippet, a little bit of a teaser as to where we're going to be setting up, I went ahead and did exactly that at the very end of episode 49. With that all said and done though, my friends, that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. But before I head off, I've got the comment of the day to do. Real quick, before I get into the comments of the day, I do just want to give a huge, enormous shout out to all of these folks listed here. These are all of the folks who have, through the course of this series, have donated. And honestly, no amount of me saying thank you will accurately depict just how grateful I am to you folks who have gone above and beyond me to support. You really have helped me more than you know. So seriously, you're all legends. Thank you so much. So that just leaves us with the comment of the day for the final comment of this book. It's now signed, as you can see down on the hotbar there. Ant Soft, and actually quite a lot of other people were asking, you gave up on Mindcrack? No. So for quite a while, I have been on the fence as to whether or not I want to continue on the Mindcrack server. The fact of the matter is this, through no fault of anyone, it was just a case of terrible timing, really. When the first episodes of Mindcrack went out, I was actually in the middle of trying to get myself a full-time job. And one of the things I suffer quite badly with in real life is tunnel vision. And basically, this whole year up to this point, I've basically felt like I've been torn in two different directions. One of them being trying to get a job, and thus having YouTube go down to being part-time, and the other side being keeping up with YouTube content, you know, in the first place. Now, obviously, logically, it makes sense for me to continue making YouTube content while I try to look for a job. But because of that tunnel vision and because of just how I am, I just completely felt unable to do that. And one of the big casualties of that has been my participation overall in the Mindcrack space, and I feel terrible for it. I really, really do. So for the last few weeks, I've been sort of really on the fence as to whether or not I feel capable of, you know, getting myself back into the Mindcrack community and making more episodes on the server and talking to everyone again. And the decision I've come to is yes. However, it won't be for at least a week or two that you'll see new Mindcrack episodes. I really genuinely want to give Season 2 of Python's World its best chance. And the way of doing that, I firmly believe, is by kicking it off strong with daily episodes. Now, the plan is, after a week or two of daily episodes, kicking off Season 2 of Python's World, my idea is to go ahead and return to Mindcrack and start sprinkling in some episodes in amongst all of the Python's World content. Maybe it'll be a case of we do 5 Python's World episodes a week and 2 Mindcrack episodes a week. Maybe it'll be 4 Python's World episodes a week, 2 Mindcrack episodes and then a Mindcrack stream per week. I'm not entirely sure. A lot of you folks probably know me by now as being someone who changes their content routine rather willy-nilly, much to my own detriment. But yeah, I'm just trying to be upfront and honest with you folks. Ultimately, the answer to your question is no. I have not given up on Mindcrack. I honestly love all of the folks who are on there. I've really enjoyed getting into all kinds of shenanigans with Dallas Med 65, for example. And it's been lovely to meet a whole new roost of people I've never, played Minecraft with before. I really do appreciate being part of that group because it has helped my mental health, I think, more than I give it credit for. Just being around other people, even if it's just virtually, it really does help in terms of my mental health personally. So yeah, TLDR, Mindcrack will come back, but perhaps a week or two after Season 2 of Python's World starts. So yeah, just be patient, folks. I am going to return. For now, though, what I'll be returning with is Season 2 of Python's World in a couple of days. In fact, this coming Sunday, so that's Sunday, 12th of October, 2025, that is when Python's World Season 2 begins. So, if you don't want to miss out on that, I urge you, hit that subscribe button with those bell notifications turned on. I'm very, very excited for it, and I really do hope you folks are as well. For now, though, if you do wind up downloading this world, I really do hope you enjoy it. But yeah, all that's left to say is thank you very, very much for watching. I really do appreciate all of your continued support all through Season 1 here. But that is a wrap on Season 1. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate all of your continued support, patience, and love you've shown my way throughout this entire series, and indeed my channel in general. But yeah, let's go to sleep for the final time in Season 1.